From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. The Palisade Peach might be one of Colorado's best-kept secrets. Those grocery store peaches from California or Georgia, they're perfectly fine. But to my taste buds, a good Palisade peach is usually juicier, sweeter, and often bigger than its out-of-state competition. As peach season winds down this year, the In The NoCo team wanted to find out what makes a Palisade peach such a singular treat. So we asked Jeff Pieper. He's a commercial horticulture specialist with the Colorado State University Extension. He helps the growers in Palisade with everything from irrigation advice to dealing with insects. And he says a lot of the answer has to do with the microclimate in Palisade and other parts of Colorado's western slope.
And oftentimes we just don't have those massive temperature swings like you often do over in the Front Range.
Jeff walked me through how those big, sweet peaches we clamor for this time of year are possible because growers get help from warmer temperatures in western Colorado, water from the Colorado River, and some unusual terrain.
Which just leads to a more uniform production season and a long-term greater success.
Now, the wind coming out of the Debec Canyon just east of Palisade also affects the climate. Talk a little about how that affects the peaches.
Yeah, so, one of the things that canyon does is it offers almost like trade winds. It has to do with the huge cliffs there that trap a lot of heat and also the cold water in the river. So what that does is it creates really strong drafts and air movement throughout the valley. And in the morning, you'll have that air coming through the canyon down into Palisade and kind of moving, stirring the air, oftentimes either adding additional cooling so it doesn't allow it to warm up or helping it warm up a little bit quicker. And then in the afternoon, almost like clockwork, that wind will switch and go back into the canyon. Again, kind of like churning up the air, which can be really helpful for frost events, kind of mitigation of those frost events. And then also just kind of warming up the area in general. It helps to moderate the temperatures a lot. But if you start to look a little bit more closely, a lot of those farms, especially our peach orchards, are located up on East Orchard Mesa. Having the farms up on a higher bench like a mesa kind of allows the cold air to drain off that mesa and offers just a little bit more protection for some of our sensitive crops and those more high value crops as well.
Well, I want to dig into the flavor of a Palisade peach. How would you describe it?
Oh, man. Delicious. How about that? Let me start with that.
One word. Perfect.
Yeah. Juicy, delicious. I feel like, there's a really nice balance between sugar and acid profiles in our peaches. And I really, really love that balance of the sweet and acid profile that we produce here on the Western Slope.
Totally. And the texture, too, is also, I would say, just perfect. It's kind of rare that you get a mealy one.
Very, very juicy. Yeah. And, a lot of that has to do with how our growers are lucky to be able to pick and get that fruit to market very quickly. I think that's kind of one of the success when you talk about the deliciousness of fruit. Our growers pick and deliver and sell as quick as possible. And that just means that we're getting the most ripe fruit available in the market. And that really leads to a lot of that fruit flavor and texture profile.
You touched on the climate in Palisade, having a lot of hot days and cool nights. How does that help shape the flavor, the taste of a Palisade peach?
Yeah, so it's been shown in a lot of other fruit crops, and peach would be the same, that, having a large solar radiation or high solar radiation, which we have in Western Colorado, really a lot of high temperatures, good solar radiation, can produce a lot of carbohydrates in the fruit, right? So during the day, that sun is through photosynthesis, creating a lot of sugars in the fruit. And then at night, those cool temperatures allow those sugars to be broken down into other compounds like those acids and sugars. And they're just allowed to accumulate in the fruit, making them much sweeter and creating that flavor profile.
Jeff, this is amazing. I had no idea there was so much science behind why they taste so good.
There are challenges of growing in the desert, of course. We're very fortunate to have a really, really nice infrastructure along the Colorado River on the west slope. And part of the Gunnison River and drainage is off the Grand Mesa for Hotchkiss and Paonia. And, that is a challenge in and of itself. But our growers, through a lot of buy-in from the state, federal, and local governments, have created a really nice structure to deliver water throughout the different growing regions. And then when you combine that with this kind of desert climate that we have, semi-arid climate, it really is a great place to grow fruit and other things.
Jeff, why do you think Palisade peaches aren't as well known as peaches from Georgia or even California?
Well, I would challenge that idea, and I would say that I think that if you've had one, you know it. And if you speak with our growers, we surprisingly do ship our peaches to a lot of different markets throughout the states. We have markets in the South, we have markets in the Midwest. They are quite well known if you have had them. We have family friends from the Midwest who were just calling me asking when they can get their Palisade peaches because they've had them before and they know that quality is really high and they're delicious and they're willing to pay for them or go out of their way to find them. So I think that is one of our little known, kind of one of the myths associated with our industry, that we do serve a wider area than just the Front Range and the rest of the state. But I will say it is pretty small overall in general. Like I said, those microclimates that lead to such delicious peaches within the state are very small. So we just can't put peaches wherever we want. They do have to be in a very specific microclimate that can sustain business. And that would be the Palisade area, the Hotchkiss and Paonia areas.
Right. And really all of this explains the very long lines for peaches at the farmers market stands. It's okay. I've been in those.
I'm waiting in that line too. Yeah.
Everyone's in a good mood. No one is mad.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, speaking of that, Jeff, we see a lot of Palisade peach pies for sale this time of year. I'm curious, what is your favorite way to enjoy a Palisade peach?
Well, first of all, off the tree warm is the best, in my opinion. You rub them on your sleeve or your shirt a little bit to get the fuzz off and then just dive right in. I love it when you can get a really nice soft peach that's still warm from the sun. There's nothing better than having that juice drip down off your chin or off your elbow. But I like them fresh. I like them frozen. I put them on cereal in the morning. I'll grill them.
Yep.
Salads are really good. You mentioned desserts, of course, like a crumble or crisp. Fantastic.
I personally love to cut one up and just put it on a scoop of nice vanilla ice cream.
There you go. Yeah, delicious.
Jeff Pieper is with the CSU Extension. And by the way, he says that while some people think Palisade peach season ends around Labor Day, growers are still packing and shipping them through mid-September. So that gives you a few more weeks to enjoy them. After that, I'm afraid you'll have to settle for those California peaches that your grocery store puts on the shelves the rest of the year. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Have a peachy weekend.